This video is sponsored by Magellan TV. In 1943, a B-17 Flying Fortress laid low in a boneyard, ready to be torn apart for scraps. The aircraft came with a questionable reputation, having suffered heavy damage during its warfare missions. Many believe this was due to its ominous tail number, 41-2666. But the aircraft was salvaged by a group of 9 so-called military renegades led by pilot Jay Zeamer. Renamed as Old 666, the misfits put so many weapons on the aircraft that it looked almost comical, and the plane became the most heavily armored bomber in the Pacific. During one dangerous operation over New Guinea, the heavily armored B-17 put all its weaponry to good use, taking part in one of the most decorated missions in American military history. Old 666 lived a lonely life, often flying alone. Such was the nature of roaming the sea with miles between islands and naval fleets. Learn more about this unique theater of war and the U.S.'s battle with Japan in the Magellan TV series World War II in the Pacific. Magellan TV is a new type of documentary streaming membership created by filmmakers that brings over 3,000 documentaries to all of your devices without interruption. Visit try.magellantv.com/darkskies or click the link in the description below to get a free 1-month trial. Check out the Magellan TV series World War II in the Pacific, featuring 3 episodes chronicling the evolution of naval warfare, amphibious assaults, and finally the penultimate air campaign that would bring Japan to its knees. Support Dark Skies and check out Magellan TV with your 1-month free trial today. More new programs continue to be added on a weekly basis. Click the link in the description below or visit try.magellantv.com/darkskies. The Eager Beavers. In August 1942, 23-year-old Jay Zeamer Jr., a reckless co-pilot who wanted to become a pilot in command, was transferred to the 403rd Bomb Squadron 43rd Bomb Group to fly B-17 Flying Fortresses. Zeamer then ran into his old friend, the squadron's bombardier, Sergeant Joe Sarnosky. During a combat mission in November of 1942, Zeamer was forced to take over as first pilot after some crew members were injured. The operation was a success, and he was promoted to pilot in command. Because of his bravery and quick thinking, Zeamer also earned a Silver Star. Despite now being first pilot, Zeamer had no plane nor crew. After convincing Sergeant Sarnosky to be his bombardier and navigator, the two friends began to assemble the rest of the team. The plan was to test their compatibility on several daring missions. Many crew members refused to fly with Zeamer and Sarnosky again after just one mission. But some fellow rebels withstood the men's antics and ultimately rounded out the team. The crew became known as the Eager Beavers, as they frequently volunteered for missions as they became available. The Beavers still had no aircraft of their own. Due to their rowdiness and dislike of military discipline, the group was at the bottom of the list when it came time to be assigned new aircraft. They had no choice but to manage with whatever they could find. Old 666. In 1943, the 43rd Bomb Group relocated to Port Moresby, New Guinea, as part of the 65th Bomb Squadron. The perfect aircraft for the rowdy Eager Beavers awaited them at the new post. Jay Zeamer stumbled upon an abandoned plane in a boneyard, ready to be cannibalized for scraps. This B-17 Flying Fortress also had a wild reputation of its own. Known as Hard Luck Hattie, the aircraft had suffered heavy damage during its previous missions. Many people believed its misfortune was due to its ominous tail number, 41-2666. Zeamer managed to salvage the aircraft and had it shipped to Port Moresby for improvements. The crew doubled the number of guns on the Flying Fortress from 10 to 19, substituted its single guns with twin ones, increased their caliber from 30 to 50, and added a fixed gun atop the pilot's station. The Eager Beavers put so many weapons on the aircraft that it looked like an industrial porcupine. At the time, the B-17 became the most heavily armed bomber in the Pacific, with its 19 50 caliber machine guns. Because the aircraft's modifications took so long to finish, it didn't get granted nose art or a nickname as is customary. Its only identifying trait was its tail number, so Hard Luck Hattie became Old 666. The crew quickly claimed the aircraft as their own, and Zeamer's team continued to volunteer for challenging and dangerous assignments. On a mission flying over Papua New Guinea, Old 666 sustained over 60 hits from an enemy anti-aircraft device. Still, it was able to land safely and was quickly taken for repair. The Eager Beavers earned a standing reputation for their daring deeds. Every member of the 9-man crew received Silver Stars, and 2 of them earned Distinguished Flying Crosses. Zeamer received his 2nd Silver Star for a mission to Wewak in May of 1943, and Sarnosky was promoted to 2nd Lieutenant the same month. A daring opportunity. On June 16, 1943, the Eager Beavers were getting ready for a risky photo mapping mission. A solo B-17 Flying Fortress would map Bougainville's west coast to support a planned invasion in the upcoming fall. The mission required a 22-minute steady-level flight over hostile territory to acquire clear photos of the area. Hours before the crew departed, newly appointed Captain Jay Zeamer received a phone call from an operations officer from the 5th Bomber Command. They had just received intel of increased activity on a Japanese airfield near Buka Island, 67 miles north of Bougainville, and wanted Zeamer to fly over the area too. But Zeamer refused. He believed the mission was too dangerous, and that his aircraft would become an easy target for enemy fire. However, when the Eager Beavers flew over Bougainville as planned, there was not enough light to provide the necessary exposure for their camera's infrared filters. Zeamer reached for his interphone and laid out their options for the crew. They could turn northwest and fill in time over a safe zone, or they could head north and perform the Buka recon mission. The crew unanimously supported their captain. As top turret gunner and Eager Beaver member Johnny Abel explained, quote, "We thought so much of Captain Zeamer and had such trust in him and his ability that we didn't give a damn where we went, just so long as he wanted to go there. Anything okay by him was okay by us." Captain Zeamer adjusted course and headed to Buka Island, ready to take on the most dangerous mission yet. Attack on Buka Island. As the Eager Beavers flew over Buka Island on their last-minute mapping mission, they crossed over 600 miles of Japanese-controlled territory. The crew took photos to identify Japanese army strength and possible attack locations for the Allies' upcoming invasion. With only 20 minutes left to finish, the crew was intercepted by Japanese Mitsubishi A6M0 aircraft. In a coordinated attack, 5 of them enclosed the old 666 from below, 2 others approached from the rear, and 3 were spread across the front. The coordination behind the attack did not allow Zeamer to execute his preferred defense tactic, in which he would put the B-17 inside the enemy's line of fire, attacking from the front. The maneuver would expose the aircraft's belly to the other Japanese aircraft. After attempting to hit the old 666's tail, the Zeros attacked the aircraft's nose. It was common knowledge that B-17s were not heavily armed, so the Japanese pilots were surprised to find the aircraft's high-caliber twin machine gun turrets sticking out of the airframe. The old 666 would not give up without a fight. As the Eager Beavers counterattacked, they heavily damaged the lead fighter, which returned to base. Captain Zeamer hit a Zero with the B-17's nose-mounted gun, and Sonorsky downed another one with one of the 19 sets of guns. In retaliation, the Zero shot 20mm cannon shells at them, tearing through the old 666's cockpit. Zeamer was hit, and an exploding cannon in the front compartment knocked Sonorsky off. Heavily injured, the bombardier still dragged himself back to his station and downed another Japanese Zero before succumbing to his wounds. Another aircraft from a second Japanese wave hit the old 666's cockpit again, destroying their oxygen tanks. Zeamer pushed the aircraft into a steep dive to 6,000 feet so his crew could breathe. The Eager Beavers continued to engage the Japanese Zeros without oxygen support and heavily damaged instrument panels. Determined to return with the valuable photos, an injured Zeamer refused to relinquish control of his beloved old 666 and continued to fly it while in excruciating pain. Assuming that the old 666's forward guns were now inoperable, the Japanese Zeros lined up on both sides of the plane and attacked the aircraft from the front. Zeamer decided to go for the maneuver that he had been unable to perform during the first attack. The pilot banked hard inside each of the approaching aircraft's firing angles, avoiding the enemy fire and giving his rear gunners unrestricted access to the Zeros as they passed by them. The tactic worked, and after 40 minutes, the Americans outran the Japanese aircraft and headed straight for their base. On the way back, Captain Zeamer lost consciousness from his wounds. 6 out of the 9 Eager Beavers were wounded or perished during the mission, and those who were conscious did what they could to keep the old 666 in the air. The bravest crew in history. When the old 666 landed in the New Guinea base 8 hours after departing, its fuselage was riddled with holes, and Zeamer was barely alive. At the hospital, doctors determined that he had lost almost half the blood in his body. He was hospitalized for several months, but eventually recovered from his injuries. 2 weeks after the old 666's fateful mission, Allied forces launched Operation Cartwheel, an offensive in Papua New Guinea. The operation was a success, and top military planners gave high credit to the maps and charts developed from the photographs taken by the Eager Beavers. For their valor in one of the most prolonged sustained attacks by enemy fighters in history, pilot Jay Zeamer and Joe Sarnowski were awarded the Medal of Honor. The 7 other crewmen, J.T. Britton, William Vaughn, Herbert Pugh, Forrest Dillman, Johnny Abel, Ruby Johnston, and George Kendrick, were awarded the Distinguished Service Cross. Although official Japanese reports reduced the number of fighters that attacked the old 666 crew to 7, Zeamer's personal memoirs confirmed that almost 24 fighters participated in the attack. His Medal of Honor citation reads, quote, "While photographing the Buka airdrome, his crew observed about 20 enemy fighters on the field, many of them taking off. In this voluntary action, Major Zeamer, with superb skill, resolution, and courage, accomplished a mission of great value. The Eager Beavers still remain the most highly decorated combat aircrew in American military service.